Hi, I'm Joe Carass. You meet me here today at Monkhall Fishery in Shropshire. I'm just going to run you through how I go about pellet fishing. Now, it's just coming out of winter, it's the last week in February, and I think that for this kind of venue, Snake Lakes, for F1s, you can't beat pellets. You know, nice micros, a few expanders, you have a great day's fishing. Just want to run you through how I go about preparing my bait. Firstly, I've got the micros themselves. They're just standard 2mm fishery pellets, nothing fancy. You come in probably get a couple of pints there. All I do is tip what I need. You don't need too many. Just done, a couple of handfuls there. I'm just going to put the dry pellets in a tub. Just going to cover them in water, like so. Give them a swill around, and just let them stand for about a minute or two. You don't need any longer than that, otherwise they'll go mushy. You still want them to be intact as a pellet, but you want them to be soft so that you can squeeze them into your pole pot. The second key product that we need is the expander pellet themselves. Now, I'm using the Sonu Bait Super Expanders here, which I find that they're a lovely pellet. They're nice and robust. They're very uniform, and they seem to do the job nicely. What I've got here is a Ringer's pellet pump. As you can see, I've filled it up with the expanders already, so I don't pour water everywhere on camera. All I'm going to do is just give them one pump. You see all the air comes out of there, they all sink. We're just going to get them into this pot. Now what I like to do, I drain the water off until there's just a tiny little bit, there we go, and then pop them in there. They will just stand in that tiny bit of water now, take on it all, they'll expand out and be perfect for the hook. They're a great little hook bait then. I've done way too many there, you only need a few for the session, but that's what you need for the hook. Let's have a look. I'm just going to plumb the deck now, show you my rigs, and we'll go from there, try and catch a few fish. Right, as you can see, Monkhall is a typical snake lake. It's probably 14 metres wide, it's about 5 foot down the middle, and it slopes up, it's probably 2 foot tight across. Now, there are certain key areas in the peg where I feel like I've got to target for these fish. First line's going to be short, about 6 sections of pole, about 5-6 metres. I'm going to just trickle in bait here all day, and maybe I'll probably catch early and late on that line. The fish will be there to start with, then they'll back off to the far side. I'll catch a few over there hopefully before they settle back down and feed strongly here. The other areas, I've got to target that far slope. It might not mean catching right against the island, but certainly on that slope down into the deepest water, anywhere at that slope, I'm pretty sure the fish will sit. Let's get a few rigs on, have a little bit of fun, and I'll show you what I'm on about. Right, just a quick word on plumbing up. I've got my first rig on here today. I'm probably looking for 3 foot of water on that slope. It's a nice depth to catch at this time of year. I think it's important to mention the plummet. This is a 20 gram plummet. Try and use a heavy plummet where possible. It just allows you to be ever so accurate. You can really find the lumps, the slopes, the little drop-offs in your peg. And I think that's a really good tip, that use heavy plummet. Right, let's have a little look. See what we've got over there. Let's have a look. I should think that the slope starts there. It's probably 11 metres. Yeah, still deep there. Still sloping off. Right, let's find a little spot then. So, right, you can see the float's just popped up there. Initially what I'm looking for is a little bit, even though it's a slope, I want a little flat area just to fish on. I think that's really important in pellet fishing. As you can see there, that's nice, I like that. And what I'm going to do, you might notice on my pole I've got lots of blue tape here, there and everywhere. It's not breakages, trust me. I use it to mark where exactly on the slope I'm fishing. I found a nice spot there that I'm happy with. Because it's a slope, I need to be accurate. I need to be bang on where I'm feeding. So what I use this blue electrician's tape to mark a little area on my pole, so that every time I ship out, I'm bang on the money really. So let's just do that. A bit fiddly, but it's worth it. You could use Tip-X, something like that, but I just find this works for me. It's nice and positive. You can't really miss a big blue bit of tape. Right, there we go. So I've got a far bank marker, I've got my blue bit of tape, poles on my knee. I'm happy. That is my spot to start with. I'll plumb up new areas as and when, but to start with, that sort of 3 foot, 3 and a bit foot, nice flat area. That looks good to me. Right, I've got myself nicely set up now. I've got 3 rigs set up. I've got one in probably 2 foot of water, one in 3 foot, and then one in full depth for the bottom, like 5 foot, right in the deepest water. Just gonna get started. I'm gonna start in that 3 foot. I think it'd be a nice little place to start. Just gonna fish 4mm pellet. Nice little expander rolled on. Just gonna fill the pot up. You can see I've got the pot really close to the pole tip. I think that's important when you're fishing on slopes. Get it nice and tight, nice and on your float. Squeeze them micros in. Let's see what happens. As you remember, I told you before about my little blue marker here, so that means I'm fishing bang on the spot. I'm going to drop my rig in. Got my hand right on where I spot. I'm going to turn my pole around, give it one tap just to get the bait out, and then we're just going to lower that float in dead gently, and hopefully we'll get a bite pretty quickly. A lot of fish in here, a lot of F1s. There we go, got a bite straight away. There are only small fish in here, they're like 8-ounce F1s, but great sport on a February day. You can see I've only got a nice little light number 6 elastic. This one's going to come to the net any second now. Lovely. You can see, lovely young F1, nice clean fish, hooked fair and square in the top lip, absolutely perfect. Testament that our plumbing's dead right, the depth of the fishing's dead right, and our shotting pattern's dead right. Now another little pretty F1 on the pellet. I think it's important now, I might as well do it while we're catching a few fish, just to, you know, run through a few keys of my rig. I've got a very short 4-inch hook length. Now this is really important because when you're pellet fishing, there's not a lot of weight in the actual bait, so you need a shot close to the hook that registers the actual, you know, the fish taking the bait, and having that close to the hook really helps with that. As you can see, I've just got number 10 shot, just really tightly, just a bulk really, just a little staggered bulk. The float is a Mick Wilkinson Slim, F1 Slim, absolutely brilliant float. I use them all the time, every week I set one of these up. Above that I've got back shot, 3 number 8 back shot. I think they help. I just space them out, it just helps me keep a tight line between the pole tip and the float. And then lastly, I want to talk about how I actually shot my float. I think this is important. A lot of people, when fishing for F1s, dot the float down to an absolute pimple. Now, some really top anglers do that, so who am I to argue with? But I found that by leaving like almost the full bristle out, it just allows me to read the float properly. You get a lot of indications with this type of fishing, and I see no end of people lifting and dropping into like little liners and things. I don't see the point. A bite's a bite in my opinion. So I leave the full bristle out. When it goes under, I strike. How simple is that? Right, I just had that nice comment. I might as well talk to you about the feeding. Now, when you're F1 fishing, you only really need to feed one spot at a time, especially with pellets. You know, they're so instant that if I do need to start somewhere else, I can just pop some bait in, the fish will be there within minutes, especially on somewhere like this, it's prolific. As you can see, as I mentioned before, I've got my little pole pot right on the end. As you can see, it might look like I've got a bit of an electrician's tape fetish actually, but this just helps me build up the top kit a little bit so I can get that pot right on the end. All I'm doing today, pretty simple, filling the pot right up. They want a bit of bait today, and then just shipping out. Let's go. See if we can get another one. I think, although I'm fishing in 3 foot of water at the moment, I think the fishing, you know, they're telling me they want to be in shallower water. The reason I know this is, you know, I'm starting to get a lot of liners every time I feed, which suggests to me that, you know, they want to be, or they're comfortable being in shallower water. I can still catch a fish every chuck in, as you can see there, in this set, but I just feel like I can probably catch even quicker if I was to go into shallower water. So I think I'll try that next chuck. And as I say, I don't need to like prep it. The fish will probably already be, you know, they'll be there within seconds. And we clean it. Do a nice little F1 on the pellet. Again, absolutely nailed in the top lip. Perfect. Let's try that shallower rig. Right, I've just got this rig on, probably 2 foot deep. I haven't, like I say, I haven't fed it. I'm just going to go in, fill my little pot with micros again, and look at my first chuck on the new line. I haven't got the old electrician's tape this time, which may surprise you, but I know it's right on the joint, so there's no need. It's right on the joint in my section. Just that little bit further across the pond. Let's see how we get on. Right, we're in. Tap that bait in. There it goes, straight in. Shallower water, let's see how long this takes. Bearing in mind I'm not fed this line yet, so let's just see. Hopefully this will be proof, if ever it was needed, that you don't need to prime fins when it comes to F1s. Again, it's worth mentioning the rig. It's still a 10 number 11 float. It's pretty heavy for 2 foot of water, but I think with pellets it's what you want. You want something stable and positive. I'm already getting indications. There we go. We've got one. Yeah, first time we fed on that new swim. It's taken probably 50 seconds to a minute to get that first bite, which actually pulled the elastic out of my pole tip, which suggests to me that the depth's probably right. And that the fish are pretty hungry. Another little F1. I think we're going to have a brilliant day here today. In fact, the swim's going really well now. I've moved up into that shallow water. You know, there's plenty of fish there. One thing I've noticed though, and it's easy to do this, I got a bit giddy with the bait, and I think that was what was slowing me down a little bit. So what I've done, the half the amount of bait I'm putting in, half a little bottle top, just tapping it in there right on the float, lowering the float into the bait. I just think that just cutting that bait raft just to help them pick out your hook bait. You know, there's a lot of fish here, we want competition for the food. No point overfeeding them, they're not going to go anywhere. No one's going to steal them off you. So we might as well just cut back and make it easy for ourselves. We don't want to foul hook them, we don't want liners, we want stopper bars. Right, I've been fishing for about 2 hours now, and you know, the fishing's been really good, but my original swim sort of just died off now. I've tried that shallow water, and it was okay, but that, to be fair, that 3 foot seemed to be where they were happy to be sat today. Because that original line's died, you know, there's no need for me to do anything drastic, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start a new line in the same depth, just slightly to the right. I've got the plummet on now, I've got some feed in the pot, all ready to go. And as soon as I'll plummet up quickly now and feed, and then by the time I come back, rebait, go back out, there should be hopefully some fish there waiting for me. I'll just do that now. Putting this out. This new line, it's only going to be probably a metre to the right of where I was fishing. It's not far, but that can be enough just to get you back in touch. That's a bit too deep there. Right. See, I'm back on my tape. My trusty tape marker, and there we go. Right, I'll just tap some bait in, take the plummet off, and we'll have a little fish again. Right, I've just pulled that new line up. I'm just going to have a look, you know, see if the fish. I'm just half filling the pot. Don't squeeze them in too tightly because you'll end up banging your pole forever trying to get them out. We want to make it nice and easy for ourselves. Let's cut your nip out. Try and catch some more F1s. Right, I'm banging in line with this tree. I think it's important to note that when I put the rig in, I actually lower it in. This is something I picked up from bloodworm fishing and roach fishing for years ago, and I sort of carried it into my pellet fishing, and it's worked for me everywhere I've done it. So I just lower it in gently and tap the bait in, and then follow the bait down with my hook bait. So now we're in. Let's see if we can catch some fish. As you can see there, I've just dropped back in on my new line that started, and I missed the bite first drop in, and then second drop in, we're back in touch with the fish. It really is amazing. It's a trait of F1. So even when you your swim can go dead, but they won't be far away. They'll always be in your swim somewhere, especially this sort of stamp where there's a lot of them. They just seem to get a bit fed up with getting caught out of one spot, and just a little move can get you back in touch with them. Right, we're coming to the end of our session now. And to be honest, it's been absolutely brilliant. It's been nice to come and catch a load of fish after a long winter. I'm just going to catch 2 more. The old one last cast syndrome, and then I'm going to shoot. There's been a few key things that we've got to get across. Accurate plumbing, precise feeding using our pole pot, having the whole bristle stuck out when we're fishing so that you're not striking at liners constantly. The back shots above the float, all work in tandem to make your day better. You can see another one there. I'm just going to catch one more after this and then show you what I've caught. Well, I finally had to give up and I've just had to pack up. It's been an absolutely brilliant session. The sun's out now, it's absolutely beautiful. I could stay here till dark, but I've got to go. I've got to be, the rush. Probably just like to see what we've caught on the simple pellet tactics that we've been showing you. It's been a great day. There's been absolutely loads of bites in February, don't forget, here at Monkhall Fishery. As you can see, an absolute load of quality F1s. Absolutely brilliant. Loads and loads of bites. Places like this are absolutely fantastic pellet waters. You can come here, you can hone your trade, really get in touch with it. I suggest you come and try it.